It is true that I am not very tall. However, I can fly. What's going on, guys? I am Rizaza, an aspiring psychologist and your guide to anything psychological in anime and other series. Today we will be once again using psychological concepts to delve deep into the personality of our favorite anime characters. Get ready to know even more about Hinata Shoyo from Haikyuu. Ever since that day when he witnessed a Karasuno High volleyball player known as the Little Giant scoring points against opponents way bigger than him, Hinata Shoyo became motivated to play the sport of volleyball, where he himself shall be facing opponents that seem to be far beyond his reach. While the majority of other individuals will be swayed on pursuing a volleyball career as they consider their lack of height, there are a number of individuals that fix their sights onto a goal within the volleyball court. Hinata is one of these individuals. The question is, why do even people pursue goals that initially appear to be difficult for them to reach in the first place? I suppose that you have these kind of feelings as well. I shall provide you answers as we head on further. As the thrilling sequence of events in the story unfold, we were able to get to know Hinata even more, and we were also able to see how he interacts with those who are around him. To start off with the members of the Karasuno High Volleyball Club, there is Kageyama Tobio, who Hinata sees both as a teammate and a rival. They are so competitive towards each other that even though they are teammates, they compete with each other over trivial things that sometimes lead to full-blown fights. But despite having these kind of conflicts, it is undeniable that with them being partners on the court, they just straight out bring the best out of each other. Then, there's Tsukishima and Yamaguchi, who tend to tease Hinata for his lack of height. Despite having a bad start in their early interactions, they as well developed a sense of camaraderie and respect for each other, for not only did Hinata offer them friendship after their 3-on-3 match, but they also helped point each other's room for improvements as they further bond as members of the same team. We also got to know in the show how Hinata idolizes Azumane as the ace of their team, while at the same time competing with him for the title of being the ace. Furthermore, it was also shown how Hinata looked up to his other seniors like Nishinoya, who he admired for his flawless receiving, Tanaka for his outrageous spikes, Sugawara for his masterful tosses, and Sawamura for his outstanding leadership as their team captain. As these individuals guided our protagonist into realizing his true potentials as an asset to the team, Hinata was also able to bring back the favor with him being able to inspire his teammates into soaring into new heights. There are numerous characters whom Hinata have interacted with, but enumerating them all would rather lead to boredom in this expedition of ours. To sum up what I am pointing out at this juncture, it has been seen that despite having insecurities and weaknesses of his own, Hinata was able to resolve these hurdles just as he tried to lead those who he interact with into a greater player of the game that they love. Instead of taking advantage of others' weaknesses in order to win the game, Hinata acts in order to help not only his teammates, but their opposing team's members as well in improving the way that they play the sport. A true sportsman indeed. With Hinata Shoyo being a rather small player within the court compared to his teammates and opponents, his lack of height can be considered in Adlerian terms an organ inferiority. These are physical handicaps such as Hinata's height that become meaningful when they stimulate subjective feelings of inferiority that can push an individual towards perfection and completion. Just as what we saw in the sequence of events in Haikyuu, Hinata did not let these so-called physical handicaps to drag him down. Instead, it fueled his desire to be among the best players of the sport that he admires so much. What made him have my respect is that despite having his own issues because of his height, he is still able to help other players of the game into realizing either their passion for volleyball or inspiring others into becoming a better player. He was so in love with the game that he wanted to play not just to win, but to enjoy the process itself as he plays with others that are growing alongside him while playing the game, whether you are on the same side of the court or on the other side of the net. I believe that Hinata has this Adlerian concept of social interest, which pertains to an individual's feeling of oneness with humanity, which implies membership in a social community of all people. In this case of Hinata Shoyo, the community wherein he belongs to is the sport of volleyball itself. Furthermore, I see this genuine desire of his to uplift not only himself but others as well as strivings for success. People that has this kind of striving such as Hinata are motivated by social interest and the success of all of mankind. These healthy individuals are concerned with goals beyond themselves, are capable of helping others without demanding something in return, and are able to see others not just as opponents, but as opponents with whom they can cooperate for a unified purpose. This trait has been seen greatly on Hinata during those times that he boosts the morale and the growth of even his opponents, such as Kenma, Inuoka, and Liev from Nekoma, Aone from Datetech, Hyakuzawa from Kakugawa, and most importantly, his teammates, especially Kageyama. As we relate to Hinata, we would always wonder why do even people reach for goals that seem to be difficult. You see, according to the Adlerian theory of personality, people strive towards a goal as it is shaped by their expectations of the future, which are called fictions. Because people begin life small, weak, and inferior, they develop a fiction or belief system about how to overcome their deficiencies to become superior and strong. Despite being relatively small compared to his opponents within the volleyball court, Hinata has this fiction of his that he can fly and rise above the tall wall of blockers that appear on the other side of the net. His perception and awareness of his deficiency led him into finding his own way of fighting taller opponents, as he is greatly influenced by the so-called Little Giant from Karasuno. With him expecting a future wherein he could play against others despite his lack of height, he was greatly driven by this fiction and thus pursuing his goal that the people around him sees to be difficult and nearly impossible to reach, yet being relatively possible and achievable in his subjective perception. Sports anime has been known to have some kind of unrealistic, yet thrilling approach when it comes to conceptualizing abilities and fights among characters. But what made Haikyuu so great is that it kept the excitement while remaining grounded to reality, making the whole story relatable and admirable for longtime fans and even to new audiences that are interested to the show. What's even more amazing is that not only did Haruichi Furudate got to share the reality in team sports and the career that lies beyond the school premises, he was also able to introduce characters whose personalities are congruent to actual psychological concepts and theories, which makes the entirety of the show truly relatable to a degree that even those who are not into sports will be inspired and motivated to catch a hobby of their own as well. With you reaching this part of the video, consider this as an astounding win, for not only you are able to get to know Hinata Shoyo even more, you were also able to learn something new as we discuss the various implications of Alfred Adler's theory of personality. Kindly leave a like if you enjoyed this video and subscribe to the channel for more of this kind of content. Once again, I am Rizaza, an aspiring psychologist telling you that your weaknesses will only turn against you if you let this drag you down. Stay safe and keep the curiosity alive.